Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode of the Balanced Boss Mom podcast, the space where we talk about honesty, about motherhood, identity, healing, leadership, and breaking cycles as we build lives that feel aligned instead of exhausting ourselves, by the way. Today's episode is for the women who feel emotionally tired, not because you're weak, but because you feel like you're strong for everyone else for a very long time. I know for myself, my cup sometimes is not completely full, so I completely understand if today's episode resonates with you. If you ever felt like you're carrying the emotional weight of your family, your work, your relationships, if you ever felt guilty for resting, choosing yourself, or even wanting more, this conversation is for you. I am so excited for this conversation this morning because I am so honored to be joined by Larissa. She is a licensed clinical professional counselor, author, leadership through leader, and has more than 20 years of experience helping women break free from inherited emotional patterns and invisible burdens. I know she's going to help me today, okay? Because I need the help, okay? She's a founder of Fearlessly Inspired Therapeutic Solutions, co-founder of Sisters in Healing, a national and international speaker, and an associate's, is it adjunct?
Adjunct.
Okay, did I say that right?
Adjunct.
Adjunct professor, my apologies, at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. Her work centers around helping women identify the invisible message they've inherited about caregiving, strength, loyalty, success, and worth, and what becomes possible when you finally give ourselves permission in living differently. So, without further ado, Larissa, thank you for coming onto the Balanced Boss Mom podcast. I'm so grateful for you to be here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here. This whole idea about balance, that is my love language and a constant work in trying to balance.
Yes, and that's why I like the word balance, because when I first came up with the name the Balanced Boss Mom podcast, it came from actually a vision board that wasn't even supposed to be a mom podcast. It was supposed to be a crafting podcast. But then I thought about it. Not everybody's going to want to hear 30 minutes of a Cricut machine. By the way, I love crafting. So not everybody would want to hear that. So I was like, what's next for me to do? So I was like, well, I balance a lot of hats. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, a
Mhm.
daughter, a spouse. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm a mom and it's a podcast. So that's how the Balanced Boss Mom came about.
Nice. Put it all together. That's amazing.
Mhm. So I want for the listeners that don't know who you are, you tell us like where you're from, who you are. I know I got a little bit brief of a background of what you do. So I want the listeners to hear and share your story with them.
Sure. So originally, I'm from Missouri.
Mm.
I lived there, grew up there, and it wasn't until I left for college that I went to Jackson State University in Mississippi. Then later went on to grad school as I thought I was going to be a teacher, and then quickly realized, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And but love music and wanted to figure out how can I use music and be able to help people. And I found music therapy and
Mhm.
went away for school for that. Did that for many years
Mhm.
and then decided, you know what? I need a little more help in trying to with the verbal part. The music helped to address the nonverbal, and
Mhm.
so I went back to school to for counseling to learn that skill and gain that skill. So I kind of skipped over into like my professional part, but in terms of like who I am
Mhm.
and where I live. I'm currently now in Maryland. My practice is in Annapolis, Maryland.
Mhm.
And so I've been here for over 20 years now. So you might as well say Maryland is home. So when people, you know, somebody said like when somebody asks you where you're from, you should just go ahead and say you're from Maryland now. you've been there long enough.
I don't think so, because a lot of people still ask, like, "Where were you born?" for me, and, like, "Where are you raised?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm from Gary, Indiana."
Yeah.
Okay? I was born in Gary, Indiana, but I was raised in Texas. So, I still
Yeah.
claim Indiana. Indiana's my home, and for my family and friends, they know that that's my home.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of I do say sometimes I'm like, "Oh, Dallas," because I lived in Dallas for quite some time. But then I'm like, "No, Indiana's my home." So, yeah, you
Yes.
gotta you gotta say it instead of I mean, I would say Maryland is your secondary home. So,
I like that. I
I
like
like
that.
that too. I think
Yeah.
that's perfect. And so I'm curious, when did this you said you went from music to counseling. So
Mhm.
my question would be is what made you fall in love with music? Because I have a musical background myself where I used to play the violin.
Ah,
So
yeah.
and I fell in love with playing the violin about when I was about 3, 4 years old. So what made you fall in love with first music and then transitioning into counseling?
Yeah. Oh, I always loved music. There was always music playing in my household. We're about to date myself. We had record players and the 8 tracks in my home. So my parents were always playing music. And when I was in 6th grade, we had the opportunity to play an instrument. I wanted
Mhm.
to play the saxophone.
Uh-oh.
However, the
Uh-oh.
uh, the band director was like, "She's got 40 saxophones and she didn't need any more." And so she encouraged me to try the trombone. And I was quite upset. I was like, "This is a big instrument that I have to carry on the bus. It's bigger than me." But
Mhm.
I'll try it, and fell in love with it. And I would play for hours and hours and hours. Like, I wouldn't go outside. Um, I'd rather just stay inside and just play and try to get really learn it and get the
Mhm.
skill of it. And it just stayed with me. I played all the way through college. It helped me get to college and playing, but just love music. Music has always been a part, and it still is.
Mhm.
The relationship with it had shifted for a period of time. So, and even now, that my relationship with music is a little bit different than what it
Mhm.
was before, but it's just always been a
And
part of it.
that's how it is for me. Like my relationship changed with music for me, I think right before I was graduating high school for me. So, and it sucked because it was like I was like, what is it? Is it going to pay me financially? Is it going to get me into college the way
Mm,
that I think it was going to help me get into college?
yeah,
Um, and like you said, it evolves and it changes. So like my relationship with music now is like seeing it through my daughter's eyes, kind
mhm,
of, because now my daughter's the age that I was,
yeah,
like that impressionable age where she's like looking at everything. And I don't want to steer her into a lot of people keep saying, well, you got to put her in sports, put her in this, put her in that. I kind of want her to make her own decision
yeah,
and let her come to me about it. So,
yeah,
like, if she wants to do music, and I told her, I said, your mom used to play the violin. Your grandmother used to play the clarinet. You got a lot of people that did a lot of music, and me and my mom were both first chairs. Um, so I told her, I said, whenever you're ready, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whatever you feel aligned to or what you feel comfortable with, just come to me about it. I
mhm,
don't want her to be able to feel like she has to live my life through her eyes,
mhm,
um, because I feel like that's a pattern has been dealt with. Like I
yeah,
lived through my mom, so now I don't want her to live. I don't want my daughter to live through me, and I want that cycle to break.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I love that you transition from music to counseling. So what made you end up falling in love with counseling?
yeah. Um, it's kind of funny because my brother was just visiting a couple weeks ago, and we were we were talking about just kind of our relationship and how
Mhm.
he's 4 years younger than me, and how we would sometimes get into it, and then there was this one day when all of a sudden he was much bigger than me, he, was stronger than me, and it was like, "Oh, okay, so I can't, like, push him around anymore, I gotta come up with something different." And he said, "That's where it all began, the mind games and all." And I was like, I never thought about it like that. But yeah, but the idea of being able to use words, like if you're not careful, it
Mhm.
can be done for good or it can be done for not so good, right?
Mhm.
But the idea of that I can listen, because really counseling is more so about listening than it is about talking.
Mhm.
And being able, it's the way in which you listen, which we call active listening, but so that you can hear not just the words that people are saying, but you can also hear the emotion that is
Mhm.
coming through it, and also hear what's not being said. So a lot
Okay.
of times we'll be talking, we'll say a lot of things, and we may allude to something, or we're kind of talking around something. And
Mhm.
so this idea of being able to hear, I always call it listening underneath what is being said. And to be able to do that and then to give it back to somebody, to reflect
Mhm.
it back and what I think I heard. And then they look at me and say, "Yeah, that's what I was actually trying to say." Then it's like, for me, it's rewarding in that, ooh, I'm really getting it. I'm really
Mhm.
understanding
Mhm.
what this person is saying to me, and that is what makes me like come back and keep
Keep
doing it.
doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause, like, I I don't know. I've been into well, counseling is the same thing as therapy, correct?
Hmm. Yes,
And there's many different forms of therapy, correct?
correct.
So, I've been to therapy quite a few times. But for me, I feel like when I go into the therapist, they give you like I don't want to say a textbook well, yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna just shoot the foot with it. A
Yeah.
textbook answer.
Hmm.
And then they're like, well, you have to do the homework to like get to the root of the problem.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so like for me, I've had therapists come in, will get really good, I make headway, and then like they're gone.
Mm. Yeah.
Which is like really, really rude because it's like you're trying to get the help that you need
Yeah.
necessarily and not get into the I guess the boundaries of it, like the boundaries that are
Hmm.
set for it. And
Hmm.
I know sometimes with therapists, they also need therapy after they get done dealing with therapy,
Yeah.
which I can only imagine. Like a
Yeah.
therapist getting a therapist. I'm like, how does that work? Like,
Yeah.
how
I
does
I
how does
always
that
say
work?
any therapist worth their salt. It's like I was told this a long time ago, like early, early, early on in my career. Like any therapist worth their salt has their own therapist. You have to. Like you how can you be making suggestions and telling people, here's a thing that could potentially help and you haven't done it
Mhm,
yourself. You have no idea. And much of the work that we do is about going through the experience yourself. It does a couple of things. One, it helps you to work through your own stuff to ensure your stuff isn't showing up
mhm,
in the midst of the session.
mhm,
But then two, it allows for you to put yourself in the seat of whom you would be working with.
mm,
So if if I struggled with, I don't know, depending on whatever the technique is, let's just say a lot of people like to use cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's where it's mainly like looking at the way that you think
mhm,
and reframing and shifting that so then it changes your behavior, right? And
mhm,
so if I'm sitting in the seat and I'm struggling with being able to look at an experience in a different type of way, and in order for my behavior to change, I'm struggling with it, can I only imagine the challenge that might be happening with my client? So, can
Mhm.
I now have more patience? Can I have more grace? And maybe even be open to, maybe I need to shift the technique that I'm using, because either is it not working? Is it
Mhm.
that it's just this technique isn't working? Or is it that I just need to give this person more time till they can come around to seeing or understanding this in their own way in
Mhm.
order to make the change in the behavior? But that
Okay,
comes
that's
from
deep.
being in the seat, and
Mhm.
having had that experience for yourself.
And so, like, what do you do if I know we're going on a tangent here, but what do you do if, like, for example, my therapist ghosted me?
Mm,
Like, like I was in the middle of like a huge situation, and I get like everybody needs their space and they need their time,
mm.
but like you don't go and say, "Well, I'm gonna go on a trip to Paris," and then you just don't come back to the patient.
Yeah. No, that's not how it's supposed to go. Ethically, we have a responsibility to
Mhm.
ensure that we do no harm, and that we are protecting the well-being of the people who we are working with. Because at the heart of therapy is the relationship. Without
Mhm.
the relationship, there is no therapy, right? And
Mhm.
so for a therapist, we have a greater duty, a greater level of duty to not do something like that.
Mhm.
It's just not the way it's supposed to go. And, over time, what I hear so many different stories when individuals come to me, and like the different things that they experience with their therapist, or their therapist said this, or their therapist did that. And I'm like, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that happened. That is
Mhm.
not the way it's supposed to go. And I often want to just explain, because we don't, you don't know what you don't know,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And
That's
just to
true.
explain to people that here is what it's supposed to look like when you are working with a therapist. Here are the questions that you can ask, because sometimes we just don't know what questions to ask. And here is, um, you know, thinking about who you are, how you receive information, and how you like to work. You get to kind of test that out with the therapist and say, I don't like quite,
You're not
I don't
feeling
like
like
how
it.
they did that. I
Not
don't think we're a
feeling
good
right.
fit. And you can work to find somebody else. I know it's hard out here. It is hard out here in these
It
streets.
is because
Right.
I'm going back to when I say for me for 2026, when I say the word that I have is alignment, I'm really meaning that because it's like I'm going back to the drawing board with aligning for my health, of course,
Hmm.
and then mentally aligning with my health with that because sometimes mentally I do feel like I am suffering by myself, so to speak.
Hmm.
And I don't want to put myself out there like that, but that's what the Balance Boss Mom podcast is for.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, I put myself out there and I do feel like I deal with things silently.
Mm,
Like, for example, my mom has expressed to me, she's like, "You don't tell me everything." And I'm like, "I know I don't. I know
mhm,
I automatically know I don't."
mhm.
But it's or another example, she's like, "You have so much anger in your heart, you have to let that go." And so for me, I'm like, okay, well, if I had a therapist,
Mm.
that would be great. But like you said, it is hard out here trying to find a therapist, one that aligns with your values. And then secondly, trying to find a therapist that you can fully trust in
Yeah.
because you've been through so many different therapists. For example, like myself, it's kind of hard to trust and see if another therapist will work with you or another therapist is going to ghost you.
Yeah.
So, what are what are some of the questions that you think people should ask when it comes to a therapist?
Yeah. Um, I just did this the other day, and I thought this person had some really good questions. So, if the therapists themselves don't tell you up front, but asking them, like, asking them what are their procedures and like what are their policies of their office,
Mhm,
their scheduling, their hours, the cost, the insurance, no insurance, like what is all of that process?
mhm,
Do you have cancellation policies? Like what are those? And then it's the how do you work as a therapist? What are
mhm,
some of the techniques? And can they explain it to you and not using jargon, not using counseling language, but using
mhm,
language that you understand and that it makes sense to you and what it is that you're needing.
mhm,
Um, Asking them how long have they been doing it? Who have they helped? What have they, w you know, maybe it's, offering a little bit of an experience that you are experiencing, and
mhm.
how would they address that? Because
Okay.
that question was
Yeah,
asked of
that's
me.
dope.
It was like, "Here, here's what my diagnosis has, that I've been given. Here's
Mhm,
what I've experienced. Have you helped anyone with this with this experience, or what would be your approach to helping
mhm.
someone with this that's has this experience?" Like, you can ask that.
Okay.
It's totally fine to ask that. And given your given that experience of being ghosted, like maybe even so, I've had this experience of where the therapist just disappeared on me. How
Mhm.
how how do you, you know, what do
Approach
you
that,
yeah, how would you approach
how
that?
would you,
Like, what are your
what
thoughts on
ways
that?
you can change on that, um, or how you can make the patient feel comfortable, so to speak.
Yes. Yes.
And I like those questions because I feel like when I do find my next therapist, fingers crossed, that I'm gonna ask all those questions because it is necessary, especially with the insurance and the no insurance, because insurance has just been really, really sad lately with
Yeah.
not covering all of the things
Yeah.
that are taking place. Especially I've seen where, for example, like the mental health, that
Mhm.
people just keep having to pay like these deductibles and these co-insurances, and they're like, I don't want to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
This should be covered. And I feel like mental health should be covered.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I also said that miscarriages should also be covered fully,
Mhm.
because a
Mhm.
lot of women go through recurring miscarriages that, like myself, where you go through all these miscarriages and you really do feel alone and you just don't know where to lead or where to go to or who to
Yeah.
talk to. And then it's like, oh, well, you got to go right back to work. And you're still dealing with another person maybe celebrating their pregnancy or another person celebrating some huge milestone that happened within their pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel
Yeah.
like it should be covered. And um, I know we're going off on a tangent about counseling and therapy, which is fun for me because I like it.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of the most common messages you see women carrying now that we're talking about the invisible carrying?
Mhm.
Um, what kind of invisible messages do we inherit and why do we inherited those things?
Yeah. If you don't mind, if I could just use like what you were just talking about, this idea of going through such a significant loss and
Mhm,
going through that quietly,
mhm,
um, like I I too have experienced that, and where
mhm,
experienced a loss, a miscarriage like that, and then having to go right back to work as if nothing happened. Seeing I remember there were like 5 other women who we were like all pregnant at the same time, and to see
mhm,
them to carry on and mine had ended
mhm,
was excruciating. And having to go to work every day and to experience that and see that over and over and over again, people have no clue, um, what that's like unless you've experienced it yourself,
No
right?
one understands, and that's something that I wanna bring awareness. I did talk about it a little bit about recurring miscarriages previously before, but I haven't gone into the depth of why we deal with it so silently
Yes. And
and how you can't fix something that's broken. You
yeah.
can it can heal over time. Um, I'm pausing because it's happened already. So, it's really tough where you're dealing with something in silent and then you have to go back to work and then you answer the phone call and another woman is like, "Hey, I'm calling in because I think I'm having a miscarriage and can you find a hospital?" And then it's kind of like, "Well, what do you do?" You
Yeah.
just you
Yeah.
got to first you got to take the call, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just something where um it sucks to have recurring miscarriages. It sucks to not have you see one person go through and they go through it full term, and then
Mhm.
you're kinda still questioning about, well, 1, what's wrong with me?
Mhm.
Um, 2, you're looking for your spouse to figure out how to navigate that themselves because
Mhm.
guys go through it in a totally different
Yeah.
headspace.
Yeah.
And I do wanna get into that because it's like, what do you say? How do you say it? How do you tell people, well, hey, I've had these recurring, or, even express to the doctor, like, hey, I've had these recurring miscarriages. What do you do? And it's nice to have friends that are therapists and friends that are doctors that have been really, really big in my corner lately
Mhm.
because of one of my friends that are a previous guest, which is Dr. E, and we talk all the time. But she was like the very first thing she said, if something happens, I want you to seek, I think it was a prenatal maternity therapist, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um,
Or reproductive, like there's reproductive mental health
mhm.
um
And I
focus.
I never knew any of these terms, so I was like, okay, if anything happens, I'll go ahead and check, make sure I can find one
Mhm.
just in case something does happen. So how do and I want to get into it with you about it because I want to learn how do I go through this without feeling like I see somebody, like say for instance on Facebook and they're pregnant and then I shut my phone off.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna come back to that, but to circle back to what you had asked earlier, like kind of like how did we get there? I think it's like it's passed down. Like,
Mhm.
are we the first to experience miscarriages? No. Has it happened in our lineage somewhere? Yes.
Mhm.
Did they talk about it? No. Right. So
Mhm.
if they didn't talk about it, and then generation from generation to generation, and it gets to us, and then we're
Mhm.
like, oh well, they didn't talk about it. Nobody's talking
Mhm.
about it. So maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it's only me. So let me be
Mhm.
quiet because nobody's gonna understand anyway because nobody else has experienced it
Mhm.
until you start having conversations like this, and then you're like, then somebody says, "Oh no, I too." You're like, "Oh no, I too." Then all of a
Mhm.
sudden now you're like, "Oh, so it's not just me?
Mhm.
I'm not the only one."
Mhm.
Um But I think part of that too is also feeling safe enough. Like who is around me and is it safe enough for me to be able to talk about what this experience is? Because maybe I don't even have the words to express what it
I
is that
don't
I'm feeling, you know?
I don't
Uh,
honestly, I don't have the words to I don't have the words to I don't have the words to express how I'm feeling for one. And then for two, I'm so what's the word? I would say guarded because it's like I knew it was gonna happen somewhere down the line, but I was like, I hope I make it this far to, at least. It's just, it sucks where it's like you get so excited because, of course, you're like, oh my God, it's a new baby, it's a new blessing, it's going to go through, you're going to be fine. But what was different for me was where the doctors are saying, hey, I see the baby and the baby's right there and it's attached. You're gonna
Mhm.
be sick. It's gonna work out. You're gonna be fine. Just do all these steps. And I did. I
Mhm.
did. I was drinking more water because I didn't know I was so dehydrated to the point where they're like, well, it's two. It's you and the child. So you gotta drink more water.
Mhm.
So I was
Mhm.
drinking more water and I didn't do no heavy lifting. I stayed in the bed until I only went to work and came back. That was it. And then for me, I was just like, why does this keep happening? What is the problem that keeps happening with? Why? And I keep getting back to that. I don't talk about it enough,
Yeah.
but I keep circling back to it in my head. Like, some people will ask, like, hey, Erica, are you okay? And I don't want to, I say yeah, because I don't want to get into, well, honestly, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay with the fact that I want to be able to I do want another kid sometime down the line, and I am getting a little older. I'll be 36 in March. So, and for me, I've always manifest the things that I wanted in my life. I said by the time I was 30, I was going to have my first kid. I had my daughter. And
Mhm.
then I was like, by the time I'm 35, I want to have my second kid. And it's like, I'm 35. I've had 4 recurring miscarriages. What is the problem?
Yeah.
And I'm starting circling back to me, like, I'm like, "Is it me? Am I the problem? What's happening?"
Yeah. Yeah. And like being able to have a medical team that you feel like you can trust and that you can ask those questions to, and that
Mhm,
can provide you the guidance and that you feel, you know, like at least begins to help to answer some of that.
mhm,
And I think in like what your friend was saying, and this would be for anyone, right? That sometimes like being in our head is can be a dangerous place. Uh
mhm,
and to stay there by, be there by yourself, especially in an experience such as this. And so
mhm,
having a therapist that is skilled and has knowledge of what this whole fertility, infertility, all of that, whatever it is, the miscarriages, like all of the experience and that they have the knowledge of it
mhm,
and a understanding to be able to help you work through it. Because the last thing we want to happen is for the kind of the fingers to be pointed at, it's me, it's my fault, I'm deficient, I'm all the things,
mhm,
that then lead to us cycling and maybe even spiraling into something that then later becomes difficult to get out of. And so, um, maybe it's even thinking differently of the question of not what's wrong with me,
mhm,
but what is happening. I think you kind of stated that of like what is happening to me.
mhm,
And so then it gives a little space and a little removal from I'm doing something wrong so that it's my fault and I'm the reason why this is happening, versus there could be something else, and maybe it's something that they are just not able to explain fully, you know
mhm,
um but being able to live in that space and yet still be able to continue and move forward. One of the most important things in experiences such as this and other experiences like
mhm,
the having a miscarriage is traumatic, right? And there's different trauma is trauma. There's the intensity of the traumatic experience is what may be different.
mhm.
And so with all of it, the important thing is that we don't want to get stuck.
And I'm trying not to get like that. I'm trying not to get to where it's one, me spiraling because I'm doing everything for everybody else. And then two, pointing the finger at myself
Mm-hmm.
has been very hard because I'm still doing that questioning of, I'm trying to switch the question of what is happening to me from why it's happening or why it keeps happening or why my body is just keep rejecting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is the hardest part because now I'm throwing myself into work more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea to throw myself into work more where I want to be able to take that break. Like I feel like I've been running for so long. Um from going from one miscarriage to now four miscarriages. And it's like it's the same cycle. It's like, okay, we find out um the pregnancy is happening. We find out, oh, you're about in your second trimester. You get to the second trimester and then everything just goes haywire.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like things would be a little different because I was like, okay, I feel a lot calmer, but I was calmer in the last pregnancy. I was really calm, like calm, no stress. Um, I did things differently and then, did things differently again, was walking, drinking more water, trying to take my vitamins a little bit more, just doing it, doing more changes. And so I'm glad that Dr. E has really expressed and been in my corner because I don't tell people a lot of things. I still feel like I'm still in that fight and flight mode, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And so I want to help somebody else
Yeah.
if they're going through this today.
Yeah. As I'm listening to you too, that this thought just came forward of that. Oftentimes I'll say, when I'm in a session, I will say, I'm getting ready to talk out of both sides of my neck right now. Okay. So, like, on one end, we want to be able to talk about it. We want to be able to express. We don't want to keep it held in,
Mhm.
and, be able to just get it outside of self. And on the other side, we don't want to just talk to anybody about it. Like,
Mhm.
we want to, not everybody is gets the privilege to hear all of the things about you and from you, right?
Mhm.
And so it's uh partly balancing and partly what is the word I'm looking for? Um uh the word is escaping me, but being able to decipher between like, hmm, do I trust enough?
Mhm.
Who is this person? How will they treat this information that is so sensitive?
Heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, will they respect have
My story.
will they respect my story, right?
Mhm.
Will they maintain it with themselves, or is it going to be all down the block before I even hang up the phone, you know?
Mm.
So, discern, that is the word I was looking for.
I've been very the crazy thing about it is I've been very guarded. Because now I'm coming, like I said, I've been aligned and I'm separating myself from things and people and all of that, which is, I've been told, like, Erica, this is kind of another layer that's happening. Like, who are you? What's happening? And it's a scary thing for me to kind of like do this shift where I'm like, I don't want to answer the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. I don't want to answer that text anymore. It'll be there tomorrow. I don't want to read the email for tonight. The computer can go down
Mhm.
versus how I used to be where I'm like, okay, you can call me at 2. I'll answer that email. I'll answer that text. And I think for that shift for me is I think I'm becoming more mature. I don't even tell, and it sucks because I have some of the coolest friends My circle is really cool, but
Mhm.
I don't even tell my friends things anymore because I'm like you said, is it gonna get passed through the phone and it be down the street later on at the end of the day, and then it comes back to you like, "This girl said this," which
Mhm.
that's happened to me before.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so now I'm like, "Let me remove myself because if I don't remove myself,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be a good thing."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like we grow, we learn from the
Mhm.
experiences that we have, and um, you know, it's okay for you to have requirements. I
Is
don't
it
think
okay, though?
it is absolutely okay. It is
Is it okay to
necessary.
have requirements? Is it okay to have boundaries? Because sometimes when I feel like I have a boundary, when I have a requirement, and that boundary is crossed or that requirement is crossed, it get placed back on me like I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. I think it's a little nuanced. I was talking about boundaries. I don't remember now.
We talked about boundaries before this
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, you know, the boundaries are not for other people. The boundaries are for us.
Mhm,
The boundary is, this is the limit for me.
mhm,
I don't know. Just, yeah, I used to give you $150 every month. Now I'm setting a boundary of, I am giving nothing. I can't
mhm.
do it because I can't even pay my light bill because I keep giving you $150 every month, right? And so the thing about the other person or persons,
Mhm,
they are trying to get a need met, and they have found their way to get their need met was through you, right? And
mhm.
so it should be the expectation that they're going to keep coming at you. They're going to keep
Because you
coming at,
kept giving them the 150 to begin with, so they're expecting that each and every time for you to keep continuing to give that 150.
and they have a need. This is how they learned, or this is what they figured out and how to get that need met. So
Mhm,
they're going to keep coming at you. It's for you, the boundary, to say
mhm,
no. And then when they come back again, to say no. Why? Because I'm expecting them to keep coming back, because that was the dance that we used to do. And
mhm,
it was me that decided I don't want to dance like that no more. I don't want to
mhm.
walking off the dance floor. They still on the dance floor like, "What? What? Where you going?" We were dancing. It was working for me.
Mhm,
However, it wasn't working for you, right?
mhm,
And so it's you that said, "Ah, I'm done. I'm taking these shoes off and I'm coming off this floor." And I expect that they're going to keep coming to me. And what I need to do, I have to remind myself that I'm just going to keep saying no. And
mhm.
and I have to keep saying no, because even if I say, "Okay, I'll give you $20," guess what?
They're still gonna come back with
Mm,
that $20 request each time.
exactly. Right? So
Mhm,
they still have a need. You're still meeting that need. Therefore, they're going to continue to come. So when
mhm,
you say no, it is okay for you to say no, because you are thinking, and should be, about yourself and what is necessary and what will work. Yeah, maybe it worked several months ago, and that okay, I'll give you $150. I'm cool with that. I'll just do
mhm,
it. Even if I'm not cool with it, I'm cool with it. And I'll
mhm,
do it, right? But
mhm,
somewhere in there, something shifted for you and you decided, this doesn't work for me anymore. I have different requirements,
mhm.
and it is okay. It is it is my responsibility to myself. That's all that I'm responsible to.
It's for myself
It's for
and for my
myself.
child. But
Yeah.
other than that, the boundaries should just still be in place and still set in stone to understand where,
What
like
you
you said,
need.
what I need and not what they need all the time. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I really wish the shoe was on the other foot. I wish it was like where I can call somebody at 2 a.m. and be like, you know what? This is exactly what I'm feeling. Just throw up, vomit at the mouth.
Mhm.
But I can't because
Mhm.
I'm the person that everybody wants to come circle back to and be like, oh, well, she's going to do it this time. And
Yeah.
I think another thing, like you said, no is a complete sentence, and no is okay to say no. I think now that I've started to say no, it's kind of like a shock.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, what?
Yes.
She said no to me? Like, it's, you're not gonna do this for me? And
Yeah.
then it's like, I get the attitude. I don't want to talk to you for a full week. And then I'm like, but it's not my fault.
Yeah.
You can't place the blame on me for something that you're asking. And I'm like, I don't have it. I have my own life, and I got to take care of my kid first. My kid comes first before anything. Like,
Right.
hello.
Yeah, I think that's where it sometimes it can be a misstep, is that we don't necessarily prepare, because
Hmm.
we may not know exactly what to prepare for when we do
Hmm.
decide to dance differently, right?
Hmm. Because the
Um
dance is different in 2026 for me. I'm not looking no more. I'm getting off
yeah,
the floor.
yeah.
It's different for me now. And it's like, I'm trying to give myself permission um, not to continue to feed into the, yes, it's okay. I'll give, I'll help you out this Friday. Or yes, it's okay. I'll help you. And that's the other thing. I would do that so much in high school, and I think it became a pattern in college, and then it
Mhm.
became a pattern in like my life, where I'll be like, you know what? Money is just, it's a materialistic thing for me. Of course, I'll help you pay for your, like, I've helped it, you would be surprised at me. You would be like, Erica, you should have stopped this a long time ago. Like, for me, for example, is like, I used to help people pay cell phone bills and help people pay for car notes and tires. And finally, I just was like, no, like,
Yeah,
because I'm like, if I needed that help, you're gonna say, well, you got a spouse.
yeah,
Ask your spouse, have them help you out with, get some groceries in here or your light
yeah.
bill. Or I don't look at money as like you need to return it back to me. But some people be like, Erica, if this person keeps asking you for money and they are not giving it back,
Mhm.
they're kind of using you. Like, you
Mm.
need to cut them off.
Mhm.
And I've had somebody do that to me where they had asked for money, but they've also asked money from different people.
Mm.
And with me, I was like, of course, I'll help you out. I'm thinking it's more so for what you're doing for your child, or like something serious, like a serious case type thing. So I was like,
Mhm.
of course. But then when you asking the same people the same thing, and then those same people come back and like are like, hey, why why is this person asking for the same amount, and then turn around and they go get their nails done or get their hair done or
Mm.
go buy a new fancy
Yeah.
purse, and then it comes back to me? That's where I get instantly upset,
Yes, yes,
because I'm
yes.
like, I feel played.
Yeah.
So,
I think something you said in there too is like the pattern. I recognize I had this pattern when I was in high school, then
mhm,
later, then later, then later.
mhm,
And I that being able just to recognize it, like that's the beginning. It's having the awareness that, you know what, this is something that I used to do back then. And then at this point I would do that. And then at this point I would do that.
mhm.
And
I
then
saw
asking
it.
like, like how did that work for me? Did that work for me? No, it really didn't work for me then, but there was something that was either there was something I was getting from it, or there was something I was afraid of that
Mhm.
allowed me to stay and continue in doing that.
Continue it.
But
Mhm.
now when I stop and I pause for a moment and I look at it, I'm like, you know what? That really wasn't working for me then. It's not working for me now.
Because why lie?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of lying? If I'm yours, like a close friend of yours, you could have just easily been like, okay, I need the money to go get my hair done or my nails done. I've probably been like, no, I don't have it. But now that I've created this, like, this no thing, like I said, everyone's kind of like in shock because they're like, Erica never says no. Erica
It's
goes up
that
and
part.
beyond and help people.
It's that
Erica
part.
goes and it's that part. Like, Erica
Yeah.
just does the most, and she's a great friend. But I'm like, if I'm such a great friend, why can't you be that great friend and return back to me?
Yeah. And I honestly, I think it's less to do about them and more and all to do about you.
Mhm.
It's right? And, like, and not just you, but, like, in anybody
In
that
general.
would
Mhm.
find themselves in a situation and where I'm noticing that I'm doing a thing over and over and over again, and I don't like it, or it's not helpful, or I find myself in a bind, or I get the blame for a thing that I didn't even like. I was there to help, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but that I can I can switch it up at any point in time. Like
It's
you said, I'm
time. It's
I'm working to
2026.
give myself permission, right?
Mhm.
Um, Giving yourself permission to do it differently is
Mhm.
like the next step of, all right, so first I become aware of it,
Mhm.
and then I'm recognizing the emotional content that is connected to it. Like,
Mhm.
this is so heavy for me, or this is so
Mhm.
hard for me, or
Mhm.
this makes me feel guilty, or it makes me feel angry,
Or
like
compensating.
all of the things, right?
Mhm.
That I recognize that, and then I'm like, okay, now what do I do with it? What is the way for me to alleviate what it is that I'm feeling
Mhm.
connected to the experience? Well, maybe it is just that blanket no, or
Mhm.
maybe it is I'm going to do this differently. And so, what does different look like? Well, what is it that I need? Let me check in with myself first to find out, what do I need?
Mhm.
What do I want? Because
Mhm.
wanting is, if you just want it, that don't mean you get it, right? That's the old message that, has come down the line of just because you want it don't mean you get it.
Get it. Yeah.
Right?
And it's crazy that you say the want versus the need because it's like I'm like, well, you know, I don't if like I said, if you were to come up to me and say, I need my hair done and I need my nails done, I probably would have been like, no. But the fact that if you're using like let's say a subject or a person or a child for that instance and just be like, okay, well, I need this because my child is doesn't have this. Of course it's gonna ring alarms in my bell and be like, oh my God, I feel so sympathy and empathy because you said the word child
Yeah.
and it went in my head.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, well, this is for your child. Of course I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've ran into is I don't tell people that you need to pay me back. I don't do that either because
Mhm.
I'm like, in the end, for me,
Mhm.
I see it that I'm going to be blessed in a different way.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not even going to be like you returning the money back to me. It could be 6, 7 months down the line. I get blessed in a different way because I did something really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when like a situation happens, like for me, where I'm like, oh, I really do need this $50 to get me some groceries or $50 to, like, I really need something, right?
Mhm.
It's also, when are you going to pay me back?
Mhm.
What date are you going to pay me back in? And it kind of bring that alarm to me. Like, I'm like, dang, that's selfish because I've done it for you multiple times and I didn't even ask for the money back.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's created another boundary of like, oh, okay, it rings alarm. I gotta put this boundary up because now you're playing on my top. You're
Yeah, yeah,
playing on
yeah.
me,
Oh, that's how this is how this goes down?
this is
Okay.
how this goes.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, oh, and
Yeah.
it rings for me, and I'm like, noted, this person just crosses out.
Yeah.
Or like, for example, people have heard, girl, you've been quiet lately. I know.
Mhm.
I know I've been quiet. I've been quiet for a reason because it's,
Yeah.
you need to be quiet. Because, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
you're waiting to see if the conversation that you had is going to go down that street and it's going to wrap around. And it's, like I said, it's happened so many times for me
Yeah.
to the point where I'm just like,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
But since we're still going on a tangent, I want to almost wrap up here and talk about your book
Yes.
because we've had such a great conversation. You're an author of The Invisible Weight We Carry, which feels like a perfect name for this conversation.
Mm.
What inspired you to write the book? who is this book really for? What do you hope women feel as they read it? And what kind of conversations has this book opened up so far for?
Ooh, good questions. I hope I can remember them all.
We'll
So,
go back to the questions. So my first one would be, what inspired you to write this book?
yes, okay. So, it actually took a little bit for it to come forward. When
Mhm,
I started off writing, I started off with a totally different mindset. I thought I was going to write an academic book, something for l- teaching and learning in the
mhm,
field. But
mhm,
it just nothing would come forward. My paper would be blank, and a question was posed to me about like what is something that you say, or what are the things that you say over and over again when you're when you're in your sessions. And from
mhm,
there, that's when things started opening up, because I was thinking about some of the questions that I get asked, or either the
mhm,
experiences that I noticed like across people,
mhm,
um no matter race, culture,
mhm,
some of the same or similar type experiences were had. I mostly focus on women and teen girls in my practice, and so I see it from starting at the teenage, like
mhm,
where it starts, and then what it kind of manifests itself into as adult women. So kind of seeing that across um age, like I said, race, culture, that's where this came from. And it's
mhm,
the I feel alone, or I feel like I'm not able to express myself. Nobody is listening to me. I feel like I'm trying to do it all, and I have to do it all by
mhm,
myself. I step in for others, but others can't step in for me. Um, and so like all of that came forward. And so that's how uh, the book came about.
That is so cool because I love reading books. I love reading books that challenge the mind. I like reading books that challenge like what's solely into like feeding your soul. So, um, beyond the book, you're speaking workshops in therapy and work in leadership coaching. So, with this book, how does it all connect for the listeners out there?
Yeah. So with the book, at the heart of it is the emotional weight that we carry.
Mhm,
And that oftentimes that some of that stuff, it doesn't even belong to us. That it's the stories, or the messaging that has been passed down from, whether it's mom, dad, grandma, whoever,
mhm,
the caregiver who was in your life, that
mhm,
it was their fears, like you want to make sure you don't do this or you don't do that,
mhm,
because well, I'm 10. I don't know. But what I'm hearing is I'm being told don't do this thing
mhm.
because they were afraid that maybe
Right.
it will work out a little differently for me, because I'm exploring or doing something from a different angle, and I'm in a different time. I'm in a different time and space that may
Mhm,
allow for me to do something. You know, so this idea that being able to hear from the
mhm,
internal voice, and discerning, is that my voice, or is this somebody else's voice that is
mm,
saying that you need to make sure that you get a good go to school, get a good job, get a good government job, because they are secure and they're going to pay, and da 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 da. Well, I
right now, it's
did
not happening.
that's not happening.
It's
Good
not
government
happening.
job is not exactly
Mm,
the most
it's
secure at this
it's
point in
being
time,
extinct.
but
Mhm,
it also shuts off the possibility of, but what about entrepreneurship, right?
mhm,
It's like that old messaging of like, okay, well, I need to get out here and just go get a job. Well, potentially you could go out here and start your own business and do just fine, if not even better, depending,
mhm,
but being able to discern the, that voice, and when you're able to do that, the idea that we can lift and release this emotional weight that may not be ours, and maybe it is ours, but being able to understand
Mhm.
it and be aware of it so that we can do something and move forward. This idea that I don't have to be the strong one all the time,
Ooh,
that
say that for the people in the back.
I don't have to be the strong one all the time. And can I be vulnerable enough? Because it comes down to vulnerability. Can I be
Mhm.
vulnerable enough to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, even if you think it looks like I'm doing okay or I'm doing all of the things, I'm holding on by a string. And
Yeah.
either can you help me, or maybe I don't need you to like physically do anything. Maybe I just need to, can you give
You
me
gotta sit
10
there.
minutes?
Just
Okay,
sit there.
just give me 10 minutes. It's just me and you just being here. And then that's enough for me to to catch my breath, and then to be able to either keep going,
Mhm.
or ideally give me enough time to catch my breath so that I can think about what all is in front of me, and do I
Mhm.
have to do it this way? Right? To question it. Do I
Mhm.
have to do it the way that I'm currently doing it, or is there another way? And if so, what is that? What does that look like? So that's essentially what this book is about, is
Mhm.
stopping, noticing, and questioning, and trusting yourself,
Mhm.
and building up that capacity to be able to do so, that you can move into freedom.
I like that. I like that. Just like you said, it's okay not to be okay. And I like that you said sometimes you just want somebody to hold that space where they just sit and talk or just sit there with you for, like you said, 10 minutes. It's
Yeah.
not gonna hurt, you
Yeah.
know? And I feel like I was built like that where I'd be the listening ear, but when the listening ear comes back to me, it's not reflected back to me. It's kind of like, well, girl, I don't want to hear your mess. You figure it out yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm there for you. Why can't you be there for me?
Yeah.
Now, um, I know I also ask, what do you hope for women as they feel when they do read this, and what conversations have opened up that you've
Mhm.
heard behind the book?
Yeah. So what I hope for women is, one, I hope that they'll feel seen.
Mhm.
And I hope that they will see a path forward. Like, they
Mhm.
will notice that, okay, I don't have to do it the way I currently do it. I can do it a different way, and I can explore. Even if I don't know what that is, I
Mhm.
can work to figure it out. I can have space to figure a thing out. And then what the feedback that I've gotten is that, from people who have read it, is that then they pass it along to others, either others in their family, and then now they're having conversations. Why didn't we talk about this? We knew that this thing was happening, but we never talked about it. Why
Mhm.
is that? Why
Why aren't
haven't
we
we?
talking about these conversations?
Yes. So, that it is opening up conversations within families, and to gain greater understanding of the environment around you, but then to
Mhm.
also gain greater understanding to yourself, because like you're adapting to the environment that you're in, or that you were around, and then looking at, you know what? It it was necessary then for me to function in this particular kind of way.
Mhm.
Is that necessary for me now? No. It's
Mhm.
not serving me in any kind of way. And in fact, maybe it's hindering me. It's stopping
Mhm.
me from being able to move forward. So, can I just walk away from it? In some cases, maybe so. In other cases, maybe it's a gradual, all right, doing a little, I'm just not going to pick up the phone. I'm just not going to do this. Or instead of doing it like that, I'm going to do it this way, you
Or I'm
know?
gonna take that walk, and the phone is on do not disturb because I wanna have that walk in peace by myself, and
Yes.
that's okay. I feel like we've had in society being that stigma, like, that we always, like you said, have to be the strong one, especially if you're the oldest, have to be the strong one, and then feel like you have to take care of everything and everyone surrounding you.
Mhm.
And now it's your turn to take care of yourself and put yourself first,
Yes.
because you got little people looking at you. I know I do. I got a little one keep looking at me, and I'm like, just give me 10 minutes. I just got off of work. Just give me 10 minutes. It's been a long day. Just bear with me. And it's
Yeah.
okay to say, I feel like now for me,
Yes.
this year, it's like, it's okay for me to say no.
Yes.
Now, I know we've ran this great conversation so long. I have a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap up. I got some light questions to ask you.
Okay.
So, I want to know what brings you peace in this season of life.
Mm. What brings me peace is honestly, being able to move when I want to.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
what that's what is bringing me peace. Like, to give an example, like yesterday, um, I'm really working hard to manage all of the things that are happening around me and be
Mhm.
intentional about the time that I give and spend with my daughter.
Mhm.
And my schedule so far this year, and I hope to maintain it, has been light enough in where I
Mhm.
have been able to do that. And I feel the difference in just being able to, like, I can just be present with her. I'm not rushing.
Mhm.
I'm not, okay, 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 okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And yesterday she was like, I want to go skating. And at first I was like, no. And then I was like, why not?
Why not?
Why can't we go skating? So we
Mhm.
went skating, and I found myself just going around in circles.
Mhm.
This feels so good.
It feels good.
It
It
feels
feels
so
good to
good.
be present and be happy and just
Yes,
not worry about all the negativity, the bills, the argument you may have had with your spouse, the stressful thing that happened at your job. And another thing I think is we shouldn't bring into 2026 our work home,
yeah, yeah.
because sometimes that's stressful and sometimes that's overwhelming. And I'm trying to learn to kind of like, oh, not bring my work home, but
Mhm.
sometimes somebody asks me a question and then I go on a tangent about, oh, this is a deductible coinsurance and copay. And this is how you do. I'm like, no, wait a minute.
Like,
No,
shh, shh, shh.
I'm bringing that home.
Yes, yes.
And so, one of my favorite questions I've been asking all of my guests lately is, what is your word for this year, for 2026?
Yeah. What is my word? Risk.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Just just do it. Take the risk. It's scary. However,
Mhm.
they say bigger the risk, bigger the reward.
Mhm.
And so risk, taking risk.
I like that. As we start to close, I want to ask you something that will stay with the listeners. What do you want every woman listening today to remember about her worth?
Mm, that your worth comes from nobody but you.
Hmm.
You determine your worth. You know you best.
Mhm.
And the more that you are in tune and in love with yourself,
Mhm.
that is your worth. And that will trickle out into the atmosphere to all of those that are around you and the people that love and care about you dearly.
I like that message for your worth. Everybody has her worth. It is true. It can happen and you can manifest it if you want to.
Yeah.
If someone takes only one message from this entire conversation that we've had, because this conversation has been truly amazing, by the way, what do you hope it is?
um, I hope that people will walk away asking themselves, is this mine? Does this belong to me? And
Mhm.
if it doesn't, what do I want to do about it? Or what do I want to do with it? So Asking, does this belong to me or not?
That is a great question for, I hope, within that message that everybody does leave behind. And then lastly, what becomes possible when women stop carrying what was never theirs?
Ooh, it's so light. It's like imagining all you traveling and you got all these bags, you got your suitcase, you got your kid's suitcase, you got your spouse suitcase, and you might have grabbed somebody else's suitcase because it looked like your suitcase. But you leave. Imagine all them bags. You see them all going down that conveyor belt at the airport, and then you
Hmm.
just grabbing, you grabbing, grabbing, grabbing. Imagine if you walked away, you left those bags there. Because in fact, there was 4 out of the 6 bags did not belong to you, and you left them there and you walked away. That lightness, the
Hmm.
lightness is what I would hope that, like, that's what you will experience. You will experience the lightness of leaving the emotional
Hmm.
baggage that didn't belong to you, and maybe it
Hmm.
is some of yours, but you're like, "Eh, it's not serving me. I'm leaving it, and I'm about to walk away from it, and I'll get me a new bag. I'll get me a smaller bag that takes less stuff because I don't even need all that stuff, actually. I just
That's
need it, and maybe I don't even need a bag. Maybe it's something I can just carry in my hand, and I can walk away with
maybe
I
a
could
carry-on bag. Okay,
Exactly.
I'm gonna take the carry-on bag and go somewhere. Well, Larissa, I want to thank you so much for your wisdom, your heart, and a beautiful conversation that has led to, I hope, something amazing for everyone to listen to.
Thank you.
To everyone listening, you are not broken, you are not behind, and you are not required to carry everybody's baggage because in 2026, I'm not doing that no more. It's
Mm.
done. It's wrapped. It's wrapped up in a bow. So, if you like this conversation, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, comment, share what you think about this episode. Also, we are on all platforms. Oh, and before I go, Larissa, please tell the people where they can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Larissa Cresswell. You can find me on Facebook. Same thing at Larissa Cresswell. You can go to my website at fearlesslyinspiredsolutions.com.
All right, you heard her. Well, until next time, this is the Balanced Boss Mom podcast. Again, like, comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to the platform. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. So, bye, guys.
Bye.